Well, thank you very much for tuning into my channel. My name is Kofi. I'm going to be talking to you today about something that's been on my heart for a while, saving on textbooks whilst in college. I know it sounds like a boring topic, right? Yes, but you're going to find out very soon as you go through college that it takes a lot of money out of your budget without you paying attention to it. A $60 here, $50 there. So you don't think it's a big deal yet. But I got a shock one semester where I had to spend about $325 of cash, I didn't have on college books. And that got me thinking. And I looked into it. I realized there were a ton of people, especially mature students or international students, who didn't have financial aid, or if they did have financial aid, were being forced to use a large part of their financial aid, maybe a quarter of it, to pay for books. This was unfair. So I looked into it further and I realized that one way they do this is to allocate a portion of your financial aid to the bookstore in your college. So, for example, in Montgomery College, they would allocate maybe $500 to the bookstore. And the first thing you do, especially if you're a freshman and you don't know, you haven't heard anybody talk about this like I'm talking about it right now, you walk in there and you spend the money. What you have just done is buy books at two times, three times what the value is on the open market. It's just one way of getting you to spend the money and spending it in the place where the school wants you to spend it. So don't do it. I put it in caps. Do not spend money at your school bookstore. It's the last place you want to go to if you want to save money on books. All right, so moving forward, I'm going to give you a few tips about how I think you should save money. I think that one of the best ways is to go online. Yeah, I know it sounds like, yeah, everybody does that. No, it's not everybody that does that. Sometimes people, as I said, just walk into the bookstore because they think the books are available in their school. Why bother? But if you go online, you'll be shocked at how much money you can save on the book. A book that, say, for example, $125 in your school, your local college bookstore, could be as cheap as $75 online. Yes. So it is possible to be able to get it cheaper online. Just compare the rates. The other reason why I recommend this is because you have more options. Because if you go online, you'll be able to see so many vendors, right from Amazon to, Books for Less. Everybody's selling those textbooks. It's just a matter of choosing whether it's a paperback you want, you want a hardcover, or even moving on to my next point, which means you can buy an e-copy. If you ask me personally, I think I study better with an e-copy, and it's cheaper. I don't need the hard copy. I don't need the book sitting on my shelves 2 years after I'm out of college. So honestly, I'm using the book to just go through the semester and be able to do my test and get my A, and get out of that semester. So I don't need it sitting on my bookshelf. So I would rather go for an e-copy. Another way that you can save on books is to take notes. It's old school. Yes, I know a lot of people don't see themselves taking notes, but it has a lot of advantages. One of them is that a lot of us remember things more vividly when we write it in our own words. When you do take notes, you're basically thinking through what you're writing. It's registering some part of your brain. It actually helps for recollection. And so, yes, you may not have to write, in fine detail what the lecturer is saying, but it's one way for you to be able to bullet point the main things that they are talking about. It's so easy to research things these days. We're 2019. Hopefully, you're watching this in 2019. But it's so easy for you to go online and look up anything. And if you bullet points and you forget something, it's very easy to go out there. There are flashcards, on every subject, from TVRA video production, TV production, to medicine. There's a ton of resources out there. So bulleting your points, taking notes could be a great way for you to kind of do your own research later, and it saves you money. So let's move on to my other point. And that point is for you to rent the textbook. I have had, for example, to rent a textbook that was about $225 for $70. I'm talking about one third of the cost. I used it, I returned it to the bookstore. Yeah, the same bookstore I said do not go to. But when it comes to times like renting, your school bookstore might probably be a better option. You could rent it for the semester and make sure you keep it in good condition and send it right back when you're done. Just take it right back and you're cool. You just saved yourself what, $50 maybe. So yes, renting is definitely one of the options. Talking about renting, some libraries in colleges do have books available for you to loan. This I find to be a bit problematic because, for example, in my college, I went in there and the number of books that were available were not enough. So you'd have to borrow it for 3 hours. You couldn't take it out of the library, which was absurd because I don't know how much I can do in 3 hours with a 300-page textbook. So that arrangement didn't work too well for me. So what I did was I went into the library once, saw the situation. The next time I went in there, I took a phone and I selected the particular chapter that I was working on. I had an assignment I needed to get done. And I went, I took pictures of the pages that I wanted to work on. And I sat there, read for the 3 hours, but I still had my backup on my phone. You could use a tablet, which could even be much better because then it becomes an ebook right there on your phone or on your tablet, I mean. So yes, there's a couple of ways to get around this. Some libraries will be able to give you a copy, a loaner copy that you can take out, and that could save you a ton of money. So always check this before you go out there and buy a book. One more thing to do before you go out and buy a textbook is to walk into the first class. Now this becomes a controversial topic because a ton of people advise buy the books early. If you know what book you're going to use for the semester, buy it early because then you save on it. How much are you going to save on it when you buy it early? $10 maybe? But if you don't have to buy the book at all, how much do you save? Maybe $150. So I would strongly recommend, and it's my personal opinion, that you walk into the class the first day, get a feel of who the lecturer is, what the class is going to be like. A lot of times the descriptions don't tell you everything. A lot of these lecturers, they also understand our situation. And some of them, even though they have a textbook assigned to the course, may not really depend on it a lot. If they are the talker type, and they post their lectures on Blackboard, which is an e-learning platform that most colleges use in the US, then you might not even need to buy the book. And if you're not sure after the first class, I would walk up to him or her and say, do you really think I need to buy the textbook? I'm considering going through this class, maybe just using your lecture notes. Are you going to be posting them onto Blackboard? It's as easy as that. A lot of them will tell you that, yes, I will be posting my notes on Blackboard, so you might not need the book, even though I'm not going to tell you to buy it. They don't want to be in a situation where they said, I told you not to buy the book, so they will tell you, you need it. If you want to use it, it's fine. If you don't, you'll be able to do well. And that is one way to save a clean $120, $150 on a textbook that you're going to use for 4 months. It becomes a lot easier for you if you're just taking the lecture notes. Sometimes, in my opinion, I find it more relevant because he or she is teaching you angles that they want you to remember, and using their own notes actually does help you to go through school. There's this other point that I wanted to make, and that is you can buy an older version of the textbook if you have to buy it. I understand that there are certain courses that require you to have the book, and it's a bit difficult if you don't have a textbook and you go through the class. So yes, you may need to buy the textbook. So if you have to buy the textbook, you could possibly just buy an older version of the textbook. You know why? A lot of the newer versions of the textbooks that come out are not so different from the ones that you know was released last semester. Edition 4 may not be so different from edition 5. Trust me, the publishers have to stay in business, and they do that to keep people buying the books. Genuinely, there are times when the industry changes, and so the books will need to be updated. For example, if the book is related to communication, communication has changed drastically over the last 10 years. And so yes, there will be several updates. The digital age has changed a lot of things, you know, so it's moving faster than the textbooks, and so sometimes they have to update. But I still think if you need to buy the textbook, you could buy an older version of it. Could save you money. And all you have to do is compare notes with the new ones. Everything is Googleable these days. You should be able to look things up and say, compare version 1 and version 2 of topic A. And it will tell you, you know, what exactly is trending and what the differences are. Actually, some of the books list what the updates are on the book, in the book itself, or on the back cover. So you would be able to learn that, especially if you go to the publisher's website. Another way that I think you can save money is to buy a used version. Believe me, it's going to save you about 30% of what the original cost of the book was. If the new one is $100, you could be paying $65, $70 for the same book. It's just a book. I know people worry about, where the book has been, who has used it. I don't know, and I don't want to touch something. I don't want to use something that has been used. You're being cringy. It's just a book. Just use it and go through the semester. What you need is the information in there. And remember, it's only for 4 months or so. When you finish with the semester, you you can return it or you can even resell it by given another 50% off of the book. So eventually, you ended up paying only 25% of what the actual book cost is, and you still go through your semester with an A. I don't think it's a big deal to use an old book, if unless it's very old and you don't like how it looks. Yes, but there's so many well-kept books, especially those that have been rented for a while, that are very good that you can actually use. So that is one more way you can save. And maybe this is going to be my last point, but join a book club. I know it sounds like too much to ask for just a book. Maybe you're thinking $60, join a book club for that. Trust me, if you're going to go through a 4-year college, or even a 2-year college, assuming you're doing a diploma or an associate degree, as we call it, you're going to be going through a ton of semesters and you will need books. So joining a book club, if there is none in your school, it's so easy to start clubs these days. On almost every college website, it will tell you if you want to start a club. If you go to the clubs page, it will ask you if you want to start a club, and you can start a club and do flyers, put it on the notice boards. It's free. You might actually be starting something that would really help a ton of students, and make you a student leader in your own way. When we get into college, it's not just about the books. You also want to learn leadership skills. That's the whole idea. It's not just book knowledge. You want to come out being a smart politician, not in politics, as in politics practiced in DC, but you want to be able to lobby your way. And so, yes, joining a book club could save you. People who use books, who know they're not going to need them in the next semester. If they do know there are people who need them in that book club in the same school, some people will actually give it to you for free. And some people might ask for, something for it, but you don't have to do the transaction in the book club. It's basically to facilitate you getting to meet people and chatting with people who may have, the book that you're looking for, and you'll be surprised at how much money you could save that way. See this way is another way to socialize. All right. So it will be a smart thing to do. If there's no book club, again, as I said, be a politician, set it up. The other thing that I want to say, talking about politicians and lobbying, is if you do join the book club, it's one way for, the responsibility cuts two ways. As much as we want to save money, I think the schools are also responsible for helping us to go through college without spending a ton of our financial aid or whatever, wherever we're getting the money from. And so, yes, it behoves on the school as well to look at how they can help students save money. Of course, we understand that the bottom line, the money is the number one thing for them. But for community colleges especially, I think they have a responsibility to ask students to help save money. So yes, if you join a book club, coming back to my book club point, it becomes one way of you guys, there's strength in numbers, putting pressure on college, faculty, even the lecturer, a single lecturer. Some of them are faculty members who have power, and hearing from students, not one student, but a group of students that say, listen, we having to pay so much for this, and we think that we don't need it. We may have bought it already. We don't think you should do that to the next class. Why don't you consider posting more on Blackboard? And these lecturers have a lot of authority, unlike what they get to choose how their courses go. So sometimes, especially when the department is small, you'd be surprised. They could change policy, and it would be a good way for you to learn how to, lobby, find ways to get things done without necessarily getting on the streets. It's one way, come out of college a savvy person. So yes, I don't know if it really helps, but that could be one of the ways that you could benefit from joining a book club. Finally, I think talking about colleges and faculties and boards, we should find a way, go online sometimes and write about the things that bother you. I'm talking about textbooks here. Maybe you could talk about how your college is making money off of things that they shouldn't do, because some of these pressures, some of these in quote, help to change policy. So go out there and tell people about what's happening in your school, do a video like this and educate somebody about your experience so they don't have to spend money they don't have in, one semester. I hope this has been useful to you. I know it's a ton of ways that you thought you knew already, but putting it all together, if you actually go through all these steps that I listed, you could possibly save a ton of money. Well, I want to thank you for watching. I hope it has been useful. I hope that you've picked up something from this video and that it's not been a complete waste of your time. And hopefully when I do find something else that takes my fancy, I will come back here and talk to you about it. My name is Kofi. Peace. I'm out.